Oh, sheesh.
Guys, just be careful, that third crossing, that's deep.
Oh, I've got water in under the dash.
We decided we'd get in there with our cars, and that's when everything started to go wrong.
There was a bit of water in his airbox. We had to dry it all up, blow it all out. You don't want any water at all in your diesel.
Getting water into a diesel engine, as you well know, can be quite terminal.
We decided, well, we better start heading for our exit point.
So it's looking a little bit hairy up through here at the exit.
I hate salt water.
Charlie, great to have you along for your 4x4 trip. It's your second trip, isn't it?
Yep, last one was down in the Mallee. It started last year.
It's a little bit more scenic through here.
Yeah, I grew up on the Sunshine Coast here, and this was our local track. When we wanted to come out for a weekend of fun, we'd come down to North Shore and go for a drive up and a bit of a swim and fish and have a good time.
Coming down the track there, come through a really narrow section, and then it opens up into this vast array of sand. Huge moving sandbar that changes every day.
Almost like a little bit of a rainforest coming up through the hill. And then down the other side, it was just pristine, beautiful water. It was nice and blue.
Upon getting onto Double Island Point, it changes all the time. I can see the difference already, and I was only up here a few weeks ago.
What a spot it is. You're only a few hours north of Brisbane and you're in what looks like something you'd see on a tropical postcard. There's catamarans, there's yachts, there's just water with a sandbar in between. There's people having fun, having the time of their life.
A lot of people out there on boogie boards, 1 or 2 people on jet skis, a lot of kids playing, fishing, a lot of families out there having an awesome day out.
We decided we'd get in there with our cars and get across to this beautiful sandbar that was there. And that's when everything started to go wrong.
Oh, sheesh. Holy smoke, fellas, I think I'm going to turn into a submarine.
That's deep, that little crossing there, guys.
Be careful, that third crossing, that's deep.
Oh, that makes me feel a little bit sick in the tummy.
Hold on.
Hold on, girls.
Are we gonna go on the water?
Yeah. A little bit. Oh, I've got water in under the dash.
We hit the third river crossing a little bit too hard and decided to take off the number plate on the 200.
But after a little bit of excavating and looking around, we found it. So they're back on track.
Not knowing how deep they were, we watched a couple of vehicles go through. Didn't look that bad. But unfortunately, we now have a couple of issues with some moisture. One of those things, you just got to be careful, check what you're going through. Unfortunately, we trusted Simon and checked it, which the Iveco is obviously another metre taller than us, so.
Watching the cars turn left, we realised that the Jeep that I'm driving and Dave's car doesn't have a snorkel on them. Clearview car and myself turned right and followed that track all the way through the other side and went round the big water hole. Made it through safe. We're not going to get bogged and not going to ruin our cars.
Last trip we went on, car didn't have the snorkel, restricted on some of the water crossings. This time I didn't want any of that, I wanted to be involved in it all. And when I came down, Simon was pretty hesitant on the Prado going through it, worried something might go wrong.
Send Charlie the other way, please. Send Charlie the other way.
Basically said, no, get out of my way, I'm going through. The water was up over the bonnet, it was very deep. Definitely glad it got done this time.
I think what really caught a lot of us out was normally when you go into water you can sort of have the right momentum and build up a bit of a bow wave, but this one you sort of went in and it just dropped so suddenly, you just weren't expecting it.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Fortunately it was a very short little section of water, got through no problem.
But Lee can do the firewall. The floor that's got water on it.
That's when water got inside snorkels, that's when water got inside airboxes, that's when water got inside cars.
So after we got the vehicles through those 2 crossings, we did find that there was a bit of water in his air box.
Charlie from Mike Coolman is a diesel mechanic. He's ripped out air boxes and filters and snorkels and got all the water out.
We had to dry it all up, blow it all out. You don't want any water at all in your diesel. Tea towel, napkins, anything we can get our hands on to dry all the water out.
Now this is something we don't recommend. You should not be blowing through your air filter. It can damage them, cause micro tears. In this case, we don't have a spare air filter to put in. This one's a little bit wet. If you know what you're doing and you take caution and you're only blowing from the inside through, you can get away with it. So very carefully.
And then put it all back together, start it all up. Thankfully, everything's all good.
The guys at Piranha and Austrac also had similar issues, but we managed to get them all up and running again.
Cases like that, if you're doing just a bit of water, it's better to stop, check, make sure, rather than pressing on ahead. Getting water into a diesel engine, as you well know, can be quite terminal.
You've just got to be super careful because you don't know how deep things are, you don't know how much water you're going to get in the vehicle. Mike from Trek had water coming out of his air vents after going through that, so it can be pretty scary and you can do a lot of damage as well.
We just realised that the tow tongue itself has got a little bit of a bend in it, so just for safety we're just going to swap it out to a nice straight.
So luckily I had a spare hitch receiver in my truck. We were able to swap that out, fixed it all up, and on we went again.
So it's a good idea, every time you come out of a water crossing, always double check your gear. Always make sure that your hitch up is perfect, just like we found. You just want to make sure that you're safe before you drive up on the road.
While we're waiting for the tide to change, we had some lunch.
Everyone busts out their Mike Coolmans, which has got all their food nice and cool, all their drinks nice and cold. And of course, Simon in the back of his rig, I think he's got about 3 or even 4 fridges in there.
Good quality fridges, a good quality fridge slide is just amazing when you're on these trips. Makes life so much easier, makes the trip so much more enjoyable, and just gives you easy access, a little bit of luxury, but it's just all about convenience.
What better place to grab some lunch than on a beautiful beach where you've got that incredible scenery. So we stopped and had lunch and saw Grant get his fishing rod out.
We decided to get the rods out, flick a line.
Unfortunately didn't get any fish, but hey, that's fishing. Once we all had full bellies, we put those air filters back in and we beelined it straight towards the tip at Double Island Point.
A lot of people fishing, a lot of people just still transiting up and down the beach, but everyone was enjoying themselves, and I suppose that's the beauty about the area.
Started off and went for a trek along the back of Double Island Point, along the sand dune there.
It was a beautiful, spectacular sight.
The view's amazing there, really hard to describe. There's like, you're covered by cliff face pretty much the whole way around, and it's just an amazing spot, once in a lifetime experience.
While the tide was going out, it creates a bit of an island, and it's pretty cool to see all the boats sort of anchored up.
Grant, another new experience for you?
Fortunately, my passengers now become the drivers. What do you think, James?
It's fun driving on the sand. Never actually done it before, so it's a good experience.
Swifty, I think you were saying it the other day about all the work that's been done to clean up the hooning and the dramas and the rubbish on these beaches.
It speaks for itself. The place is immaculate, and there has been some riffraff up this way. I think they've really tidied that up. They've cracked down on it. It's unfortunate that they've had to do that, but look at what we get to enjoy.
I just can't believe how firm the sand is out here. What do you reckon, Mike?
Simon, I'm very happy when it's firm. Absolutely just spectacular. If you look at the blue water either side of us here and the cliff face in front, it's a magic spot. I wouldn't mind sitting inside one of those yachts for a night, having a bit of a nap and getting up in the morning early, watch the sun come up.
That'd be nice after lunch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I could think of a couple of days break there. It'd be good. No telephone service would be even better.
Well guys, what do you reckon? We head back to Rainbow Beach? Charlie, how mad is this? You've probably done it before, but this is the first time for me.
No, I've only ever been up here in high tide, so I've never gotten a chance to drive out on the sandbar here, but I've definitely swum out, spent the day out here, and it's absolutely awesome driving along here. You could definitely tell you weren't going to get there in high tide. You had to wait for the water to come down a bit.
I must say, I can't believe how quickly the tidal waters have dropped. It's a real warning to how quickly these areas can change and how you've just got to be cautious about the tides here.
Especially these little inland lakes, Simon, what happens is, as you said, they go up quickly, but then they come back in quickly. And my kids have been caught up at the point surfing, and they couldn't get back. So they had to wait for the tide to turn around once again.
I could think of worse places to get stuck.
Ask Mike from Trek, he does not want to be stuck on the beach, thank you.
There's Simon Christie over there.
That's Mike from Trek Hardware.
What are you doing here, Simon?
Oh, you know how it is, just making some TV, cruising down the beaches.
Yeah, I just came to wash my engine.
On the inside or the outside?
I try to do both usually.
Well, you've had a bit of a crack at both, haven't you?
Crack?
Just take it easy through here, Mike, if you don't want to wash your car again.
Got a clear view of what's happening. My power slide through here.
Your poetry is just amazing.
Woo! Love these little whoops. Little whoops, whoop, 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 whoop. Get the bike out. Bop, 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 bop. Hands on the wheel.
Decided, well, we better start heading for our exit point because the sun was starting to go down.
Still not sure if we can get around yet. So it's looking a little bit hairy up through here at the exit for this point to get onto the main part of Rainbow Beach, but the local surf lifesavers have told us that vehicles are going through, it's safe, the tide has dropped far enough, and we're good to go. It's all right, is it?
Well, yeah, you get wet though.
We're all getting wet.
You'll be right in that thing.
Yeah, but we've got others that are a little bit lower with us. And no problems. A couple of rocks, a couple of logs in the way. Not too bad at all.
Whoa. Doesn't look like get around here, man.
It's pretty awesome for us to do that. You don't get to drive on the beach every day. You don't get to splash around in the shallow waters and that sort of stuff in the vehicles. It's pretty cool.
We are driving around the sticks and the waves are crashing on the car and you can feel every bit of it and it is unsettling. We had basically time our run, but if you were the unlucky one, and I was one of those people, you could really feel it when the wave came up against the car as we were ducking in. It's one of the many things I would not ever want to do again, which was driving into the ocean. It was very unreal.
Ever done that before, Charlie?
I've never done that, and I probably would have never thought about doing this on my own, and I have to say, it was awesome.
That was bloody magnificent. I loved it.
But there is no room if the tide comes back in.
Please don't be here. No go past here. It is usually pretty sketchy at the best of times, hence the reason you can't get across on high tide. But one of the funnest things I've ever had to do.
How cool is this?
I don't like it, it's hurting me cut.
Between this massive big sand dune on your left, beautiful colours, and you've got the ocean on your right. So it's a bit of a tricky little section.
You want to make sure that the wave is not there and then keep following through. Once the wave's gone, and then back on again.
Beautiful, beautiful spot. And it really is, for a couple of hours just north of Brisbane, it's one of my favourite spots.
Thanks so much, Dad, for letting you drive. The nice but fun bit. I drive 2,500 kilometres.
Hey, no, you
get
gotta
to drive on the beach.
do all the proper beach. Oh, you drove like so far on the beach.
Yeah, but it wasn't as fun as this.
We headed down Rainbow Beach. Honestly, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life.
How awesome are the colours here? Check that out.
That is unreal. Holy. What a spectacle we came to.
We thought Rainbow Beach was pretty, it was a bit overcast, and then the sun come out, and my God, didn't the sand pop.
Which is the first time that we've had any sun since we've been in Queensland. It was absolutely superb.
Beautiful golden beach, golden cliffs. Wow, we couldn't ask for much more.
Look at the colour flowing out into the ocean as well.
The water, it was actually red. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then you also got a bit of green from the different colours of sand. We're all just in awe of what we're seeing, just absolutely outstanding with the cliff. As you drove further along, the cliff colour changed. We got yellow, we got white, we got the green as well from the shrubs. All these trees and sticks washed up, I reckon that's from all the recent rain we've had.
Because it was so beautiful, we actually took a chance to stop and take some photo shoots of the vehicles together. We lined them all up against the cliff face and enjoyed it while we could.
Rainbow Beach has been the highlight of the day for us. We do the local drives, but something like this is just phenomenal. Definitely worth getting out. Rainbow Beach has just been an absolute eye-opener for us and the family.
This is why you come four-wheel driving in Queensland. It's get a permit, get a day pass. Weather's always changing. It can't go wrong with Rainbow Beach for just a nice four-wheel drive day trip. Bring the barbie, bring the kids. My daughter loved it.
Due to the tide, we actually had to take off and make a bit of a move because the water was washing up on us. And you've got to make your way down the beach to get a swift exit out of there and make sure you can get out safely.
We had to cruise past the sand blow. It unfortunately wasn't accessible today, but maybe next time.
As we were getting near the exit point at Rainbow Beach, it changed to deep-rooted trees coming out of the rocky outcrop. It was really awesome. Up on the left-hand side, there was a very fitting rainbow staircase exiting up to the car park.
And then all of a sudden, end of Rainbow Beach, we're turning off and we're airing up tyres.
We were all running 20s, 15, 20, depending on what your preference was.
After driving on sand and through the salt water, check your air cleaner because the sand is very fine and it floats through the air and you do suck in a lot of sand, so you've got to make sure your air cleaner's clean.
Extremely important to make sure you get all the sand out of your chassis.
So get into the car wash and just give it a rinse before we continue on.
You don't want corrosion and salt on your cars because that's when they start to rust and that's when you start to have problems.
I want to make sure it is all gone.
They have jets that come up out of the ground and clean thoroughly under the vehicle, which is absolutely awesome. It's a fantastic thing to have there.
Really worthwhile just give them a good rinse off and make sure they're ready for the next adventure.
While we were getting the cars ready to hit the highway, unfortunately the Iveco ran into some troubles. Simon had a few engine codes come up, the vehicle went into limp mode.
We believe there was a problem with the actuator and the turbo, water coming into the vehicle.
It's getting late, the sun's going down. Simon gives the instruction, you guys go ahead, get to the campsite.
Off we headed to Kilkeven. Beautiful campgrounds just beside the creek, absolutely amazing.
Goodbye to the surf and sand and hello to the bush.
I'm very much a bush sort of guy. I love camping out in the dirt.
We're just going to relax, round the fire and talk about the day that we've just had.
Such an adrenaline rush going through some of those crossings, everything that we've done today. This has to be one of my favourite forward drive trips I've done.
After enjoying another action-packed day on the Sunshine Coast, the crew settled into their base for the next few days. However, the attention quickly turned to Simon and the Iveco.
We think Simon's looking for an extra holiday because himself and Charlie were out till about midnight.
It's getting later, bonnet up, pulling half your motor apart, and we're trying to find out where these codes come from.
Let's hope he's back ready to go tomorrow.